And everybody in this room, I'm sure, has heard about that settlement freeze. But what happened? The main Israeli organization that monitors the settlements is called Peace Now. It looked at a 10-month period, and this is what they concluded. On the ground, there is almost no freeze or even a visible slowdown. They said, settlement freeze, it was a fiction right from the outset. There was no settlement freeze. So some of you think, no. They can't be that dishonest. The media can't be so deceptive. I do have to say, to be fair, the best article on the topic of what actually happened wasn't against Spiegel. It was an excellent article. No, that's fair. You have to be fair about these things. So what happened? It's very simple. 6 months before the settlement freeze was announced, Mr. Netanyahu tells the settlers, all you have to do is build the foundations for new homes. Just build lots of foundations. And then he announces the settlement freeze, but he says it only applies to new construction. And so all the foundations they continue to build. Does that mean Mr. Netanyahu is a complete fraud? No, no. You have to give credit where credit's deserved. So, Peace Now, it wrote in Israel's most influential paper, Haaretz. This is what Peace Now said. Benjamin Netanyahu, he will probably not win the Nobel Peace Prize, but he is certainly likely to win the Nobel Prize for physics, or at least chemistry. Why? Because Mr. Netanyahu has discovered that contrary to what scientists had thought until now, water is not the only substance that expands instead of contracting when it freezes. The current proposal now for the extension of the freeze, you have to bear in mind, there is no dispute whatsoever under international law, none, that the settlements are illegal. All 15 judges on the International Court of Justice, all 15, including the American judge at the time, Thomas Bergenfeld, they all said the settlements are illegal under international law. According to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, the settlements are a war crime. So what did Mr. Barack Obama, what did he offer the Israelis? He said, if you stop committing war crimes for 90 days, if you stop committing war crimes for 90 days, we'll give you an automatic veto at the UN for a year, which makes a complete mockery of the UN, because you have to remember, there are all these investigations going on in the UN. The Goldstone Report, the special commission that Secretary General Ban Ki-moon appointed to investigate what happened on the Mavi Marmara. And now, Mr. Obama is saying, whatever these investigations find, whatever Ban Ki-moon's investigation finds, I'm going to veto anything that's anti-Israel. He's rendered the whole UN a mockery. Then he offered them $3 billion more in military aid. You know, these planes. Honestly, I don't know where Israel puts all these planes and tanks. I really don't. It's such a small place. Soon it's going to be the only two two-tier country in the world. We're going to have to just build a second tier for all the planes and the tanks and everything else the U.S. keeps pouring in. And the third promise he made was, he said, after 90 days, I promise I'll never again ask you to stop committing war crimes. I will never again ask you to stop building the settlements. It's pointless. It's pointless. And it's a squandering of our precious time and energy to look to what the people on high are doing. It's a waste of our time. If your brain is built like a computer, every time you see the word peace process, press delete. Or if you're clever, figure a way to direct. Every time you see the word peace process, figure out a way to direct it immediately to spam or trash, because it's a waste of time. Our challenge is to muster sufficient political will so that the people on high, they do the right thing, or at any rate, stop not to keep doing the wrong thing, regardless of what they want to do. When you focus on the powers on high, when you look for a Messiah, in the case of the U.S., a black Messiah, I don't think many people thought Ms. Merkel as a Messiah. She doesn't fit the part. You're just confessing your own impotence when you look for a Messiah or looking to the people on high. The simple but fundamental truth of politics, the simple but fundamental truth of politics, which even I as a non-believer wholeheartedly agree with, is that God helps those who help themselves. God helps those who help themselves. We have to do something, and if it's not us, it's just not going to get done. And that's just the facts. Now, I've been at this now for 30 years. And it's a very sobering thought that my entire adult life will have passed focused on this tiny little pinprick on the world's map called Israel and Palestine, and I've mastered every detail and every period and comma, and I've missed out on the whole breadth and depth of human knowledge. It may even happen that I'll pass from the scene never having read Kant's Critique of Pure Reason, which I keep on my shelf. I tried it once, very rough going. But I don't think I'll have a chance to do it again, because it's been all Israel Palestine all the time. And sometimes I ask myself, is that the best choice you can make in life? Couldn't you have picked a winning cause? But now, I'm kind of hopeful. There are many reasons to be pessimistic, but there are also excellent reasons to be optimistic. Public opinion is changing. That's a fact. Actually, most revealingly, if you look at the polls, the international polls, public opinion has changed most radically in Germany. The German people are not pleased with the policies of the state of Israel. If you look at the polls, public opinion is changing. Jewish public opinion outside Israel is changing. Most Jews are, in the American context, the language, most Jews are liberal. 80% of American Jews, they voted for Barack Obama. That was a much higher percentage than Latinos who voted for Barack Obama. Among Latinos was about 65%. Now, Jews are the wealthiest ethnic group in the United States. If they voted with their pocketbook, they should have voted Republican. Certainly more so than Latinos, who are among the poorest ethnic groups in the United States. But no, Jews are liberal. What does liberal mean? You believe in the rule of law. You believe in equality under the law. You believe in human rights. Amnesty International is a liberal organization. Human Rights Watch is a liberal organization. And it's become more and more difficult for Jews to call themselves liberal and defend policies which are just plainly indefensible. You're young, you're Jewish, you're on a college campus. College campuses are liberal. You don't want to defend dropping white phosphorus on hospitals. You just can't. If you're a thug, a hoodlum, yeah, you can defend it. Like some of those people demonstrating outside. But most Jews are liberal, and they can't defend it. And so public opinion is changing, and we have a chance to reach it. And in order to reach it, in my opinion, we have to do two things. Number one, we have to be principled. And principled means nobody has the right to tell Palestinians that they have to forfeit, give up any of their rights for the purposes of peace. No. Those are their rights under international law. The law is completely clear on these questions. The Palestinians have the right to self-determination and statehood in the West Bank and Gaza and the whole of East Jerusalem. These settlements are illegal under international law, and under international law, at least as it's been interpreted by Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, the Palestinian refugees from 1948 and 67 and successive generations who have maintained genuine links with the land, that's the technical language, they have the right to return and compensation. That's the law. It's not what I say, it's not what Palestinians say, it's what every representative and reputable international institution has said. That's the law. On the other hand, we also have to be reasonable. And being reasonable means we have to show Israelis, we have to show their supporters, and we have to show that large, undecided middle ground that we're reasonable. We're not asking for the stars, the moon, and the galaxy. We don't want anyone to feel pinned against the wall so that they have no choice except to strike out. All we're saying is be reasonable. Recognize the decency and the humanity of the people of Palestine. That's it. Once you've recognized that, everything else very quickly falls into place. Allow for the Palestinians what you would want for yourself. The most elementary, the most basic principles of moral justice. If we're reasonable and if we're principled, I think we can reach public opinion. I think it's possible. The late Professor Edward Said, at the very end of his life, he liked to quote the Caribbean poet Aimé Césaire. There's room for everyone at the rendezvous of victory. There is room for everyone at the rendezvous of victory.